I mean, John Lynch opens up and he's talking about, you know, the 400 Zooms. He's giving us numbers that we don't want to hear, you know. And then at the top, when they were questioning and Kyle Shanahan, they're asking him the same question 3 or 4 times. What's going on with Jimmy G? What quarterback? What quarterback? So he got frustrated, and that was the statement that he threw out there. So you got to watch it, man. It was super entertaining. But, I mean, he slipped up. He shouldn't have said that. It seemed like he got frustrated. Like, did you not hear me the first 3, 4 times when you asked me that question and I answered it about what we're doing with Jimmy G, what we're doing at the quarterback position? But here's the deal. Where is Jimmy G, Nick? Where is he at? I went on his IG. Oh. He hasn't posted since 2020. I mean, we haven't seen any type of, you know, pictures or anything coming out as far as like he's on an island somewhere. Right. Where's Jimmy G? Can we hear from Jimmy G? Because if I'm Jimmy G right now, I'm in a huddle with my agents, with my advisors, and I'm trying to figure out how the hell to get out of San Francisco. But I need to hear from Jimmy G.
Well, yeah, I think he's being radio silent strategically because he's plotting, you know, where he wants his next move to be, because obviously it's not San Francisco. And as much as Wilds loves quarterback wins, Kyle Shanahan doesn't. Kyle Shanahan is head coach of the Niners, is 24-9 with Jimmy G starting, 7-27 with everybody else, and he doesn't care about that. Like, I understand some people do. Kyle Shanahan does not. My thing that I want to toss to Wilds is this. I think the Niners have misplayed this part of it, because the quarterback market, the trade market for Jimmy G, all of a sudden is going to be quite cool. I can only come up with 4 teams that we can confidently say need a quarterback: New England, Chicago, Washington, and Denver. Every other team either just took a chance on a guy like Wentz or brought in a guy like Darnold, or they are definitely unequivocally drafting a guy this year. And New England and Chicago might take themselves off the list by drafting a guy this year. So we're at a maximum of 4 teams, maybe only 3 in a few days, that are going to even want Jimmy G. So I do think he's going to be available for a 2nd-round pick or a late 1st-round pick, because I think they waited too long for the game of quarterback musical chairs to finish up, and almost everybody ended up with a seat, even if it's not a great one, Wilds.
Yeah, he's coming back to New England for a 2nd-round pick or a 3rd-round pick or some combination thereof. And Brandon, I think that he's quiet because he knows he's out of there. And it's not because he's been disrespected. It's not because his feelings were hurt. It's not because Kyle Shanahan can't guarantee that he'll even be alive this weekend. It's because he is not set up to succeed in San Francisco. The investment, the money, the time, the energy is going to this #3 pick, whoever it may be. That is not set up well for Jimmy G to succeed. It's all about the #3 pick, and he should pack his bags and head out first thing in the morning. Maybe right now. Maybe before the show is over.
Yeah, the bag should have already been packed.
Check his watch. Hey, last time the Niners got back in the win column last night, but can they repeat with this version of Anthony Davis?
Does it count?
The Green Bay Packers made another commitment to Aaron Rodgers. Are the guys buying it, though? Not sure they are. And should the New England Patriots move up in the draft to grab Justin Fields? Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jenna Wolf alongside Nick Wright, Brandon Marshall, and Kevin Wilds. Sir, I want to talk to you, Kevin Wilds. Look at your plethora of possibilities at quarterback. You got Cam, maybe Jimmy G, maybe Justin Fields. You got to be a happy guy this morning.
Oh, just like having 3 children. I love them all equally. I don't want to choose, Jenna.
Oh, but you might have to. On television, we make you choose.
You have to.
And Nick chooses amongst his kids all the time. We are 2 days away from that NFL draft. Biggest question mark. Stop saying that, Nick. Stop saying that. 2 days away from the draft. We got to talk about the 49ers. 49ers spend a ton of capital to move up to that 3 spot, right? To draft a quarterback, seemingly perplexing since quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, who got them to the Super Bowl just 2 seasons ago, still on the roster. So a lot of questions for head coach Kyle Shanahan now. Take a listen to this.
We made a decision in this process that we felt we needed to get a starting quarterback this year and add that to our team. And when we sit there at 12 way back in the day, and we wanted to dictate it. And we also were worried maybe the one we end up winning doesn't fall to 12. When we made this decision, we knew that there were 5 guys that we felt that we'd be okay with taking. You know, we knew that there was 3 at the time exactly. That's why we thought 3 was a good spot to go to. After going through this whole process, I feel good about 5 guys at 3. Do we know exactly who we want? Maybe, probably, but maybe not. I don't feel like we need to say that.
Nick, I have to imagine. Nick has been all over this head scratcher of an offseason the 49ers have had. What do you make of what Kyle Shanahan had to say, Nick?
That line right there at the end reminded me of the famous scene early in the movie The Departed, where Mark Wahlberg is asked if he has any undercover agents inside Costello's operation. He's like, maybe I do, maybe I don't. Maybe go bleep yourself, but I'm not talking about it. It's like, all right, Kyle, geez Louise, buddy. We're just here asking you about the draft. Like, calm down. So listen, he knows who they're taking. And I don't know if we have, you guys can tell me in my ear if we do, have the John Lynch sound. But John Lynch was asked about the quarterback and who they're going to take. And John Lynch had a very interesting answer that we can play for you quickly here.
I told Kyle from the beginning that he and I are doing this together. And when it comes to quarterbacks, I'd be foolish, I believe. We have a head coach who's also our offensive play caller. I will always defer to him. And, you know, what's cool about that is that Kyle, I think, respects my opinion enough. He always wants it.
So that is John Lynch, I think, kind of washing his hands of this decision for good or for bad. What it is, John Lynch, to me, had the most interesting and telling moment there, and it was what we just played, which was him saying, hey, Kyle's going to pick the quarterback. And if you're a Niners fan, it's going to make you a little anxious, because back in 2017, when they could have drafted Mahomes or could have drafted Watson, Peter King was in the draft room. And reported right after that draft, there was one quarterback in the entire draft class Kyle Shanahan liked. C.J. Beathard, which is why a guy who people thought was going to go in the 7th round went in the 3rd round because Kyle Shanahan liked him. So where I have changed a bit is this, Brandon. I do think now it's Mac Jones because I think Kyle Shanahan, it's his call, it's his pick. I think that's his guy, and we will see if it works out. But they might feel good about 5 quarterbacks, Brandon, but they know who the quarterback is, and it's going to be Kyle Shanahan's decision. I think we learned that yesterday.
Well, Nick, listen, I don't know if you watched the entire thing, but that press conference was 30 minutes. It was entertaining. It was a drama. Did you watch all 30 minutes? It was so telling. After those 30 minutes, I walked away believing that it was Trey Lance, the guy that we're talking to at 9 a.m. this morning. That's what I walked away with. You know, he talked about there was 3 guys, and we all knew that. We knew that there was 3 guys in this draft, and all these other guys started running up the board. We knew Trevor Lawrence was going 1. We knew about Justin Fields. We knew about Zach Wilson. But we weren't talking about Trey Lance. We were talking about him at the end of the 1st and potentially a 2nd rounder. Mac Jones, nobody was talking about Mac Jones. So I respect their process. I do believe you fall in love with a guy from watching film because there's so many ways to evaluate guys. You go out to practice. You turn on the tape, and then you start sitting down with them. You get on these Zoom calls. You start questioning. You start testing them. And I believe some guys start moving around. He said all 5 guys. There's another thing he said while I was in the press conference. Well, all 5 guys throughout this process have gotten better. I don't believe that. I believe that there's guys like Trey Lance that really impressed them, and they're falling in love